Here joining you here at 12:30 on your Thursday afternoon. Folks, we have made it one day closer to Friday, but we're also putting our eyes out to the west. Let's get a live look of Los Angeles right now. This is downtown LA. Well, we know a lot of you all will be traveling, if not know somebody who's traveling, to root for the Brew Crew as they prepare to take on the Dodgers in Game 3 of the NLCS. Listen, we know the Crew has lost both straight games thus far here at home at AmFam Field, so we are still hoping for a victory tonight, still hoping for a win. We know that we heard from Pat Murphy's younger son during a news conference who was really kind of speaking just optimistically about the team. He's like, I know these guys, they can pull it together, they can get back on this on the track and win this thing. So we are hopefully channeling some inner young Murphy energy, if you will, from his son in terms of hoping that the Brew Crew can get back on track and get us the win that we desperately need in this series. But yes, Game 3 of the NLCS will be right here in this photo right here in Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium. We've got some information, folks, if you want to watch that here closer to home. I think our producer can throw up some graphics for us so we can kind of visually illustrate how you all can tune in, where you can go to find the best coverage, which is right here at Fox 6 right here. Come on. We also have some viewing party information for you. The Brewers are also hosting another really cool viewing party for Game 3. First pitch, we know, is 5:08 Central Time in the evening. So this viewing party will be near 37th and Juneau. This is at Davidson Park, a really cool venue for this sort of sporting event. It's a bunch of green space. It is a bunch of space that allows food trucks to be on hand, tailgating games, crafts, a DJ also. You got Bernie Brewer going to be there, Barrel Man, and the racing sausages. And so you can't forget the giant 200-inch TV screen that you can watch from the comfort of your own lawn chair or your own, excuse me, you all, I am having some microphone issues there. I had to adjust it a little bit. Yes, you can watch the beautiful game from the giant TV screen from the comfort of your lawn chair or a blanket. It is going to be a little chilly out there, so keep that in mind as you get out the door and start planning those viewing party activities. Speaking of the forecast, we can probably take a quick look at that right now, if you will bear with me for a second. I believe we have that. Delaney, if you would punch that up for me. Thank you, my friend. So for the viewing watch party, by 5 p.m. around first pitch time, it's going to be 61 degrees. That is pretty much the high you can expect heading into this evening. Then it drops to 59 by 7 p.m., 9 o'clock. It'll be about 59 degrees still. But you can expect a little bit of a chill out there, a little bit of wind. There will be no sunshine as well, so keep that in mind if you and the kiddos are heading out this evening to watch and cheer on the Crew as they take on the Dodgers in Game 3 of the NLCS. One really cool thing as well, folks, we have our Ted Perry and Brandon Cruz, who are both in Los Angeles right now, reporting on not only what you can expect in terms of the game and different stats from the players. You're also going to hear a story that Ted is putting together, which kind of chronicles a little bit of the life of Christian Yelich. I believe Ted is talking to Christian Yelich's former high school coach, so that's going to be pretty cool to hear of the dynamic that they once shared when Christian was in high school. You also see what kind of student he was, what kind of student athlete he was. He is from the area, from the West Coast, Los Angeles, and so it is kind of cool to be able to see his roots there and see how that part of the country shaped the man that you see today in front of you at AmFam or on your screens tonight, if you can't make it out to the West Coast to watch the Crew. So a lot going on with regard to the Brewers. Again, they take on the Dodgers in Game 3 of the NLCS this evening, our time, Central Time, 5:08, which will be about 3:08 Los Angeles time. So a lot of excitement is brewing. We are ready. We are rallying around. I would be remiss if I didn't point out the shirt that I have on. It's The Miz repping the guy. Come on. This was one of the gifts from the Brewers organization. We have some of the team members who come on our broadcast and, promote the team, rally around the team, get you excited about the team. So this is one of the gifts that I was gracious enough to get from one of the members of the Brewers organization. Again, this is the Miz t-shirt. Kind of some background here. This was handed out at the ball game the night that the flooding happened a couple months ago. And so this is kind of a special shirt, kind of indicative of all this community went through, but how this community has stayed resilient and bouncing back from catastrophe. So this is what that shirt represents. We hope that the crew, again, can take all of that camaraderie, all of that energy, all of that toughness, and deliver us a win in Los Angeles for Game 3 of the NLCS. But again, you've got a watch party happening tonight, another one that the Brewers organization is throwing for you. We just showed you that information. You can watch it as well on that TV screen. It'll be a giant TV screen you can watch the game on with your family. Just bring those lawn chairs and blankets and you'll be good to go as far as that is concerned. You can also stay up to date with us with our coverage of Game 3 with Ted and Brandon. Both of those guys, those fellas doing their thing out in Los Angeles, preparing us for an electric Game 3 of the NLCS against the Dodgers. Really funny. So earlier this morning on Wake Up, I had the opportunity to talk to one of the reporters for Fox LA, our sister station out there in Los Angeles. And they were getting ready to pump up their community, for their team. Obviously the Dodgers, who won the World Series last year. And so they're obviously looking to go that far, looking to win again. But it was really kind of fun to kind of, talk about the different ways they're preparing, the different things their community is doing to beef up the enthusiasm around this Game 3. And so they're feeling just like us, hopeful. They want to win. They want to represent their community well, and they want to do so in style with so many treats, tailgating food. We got into all of that with the reporter from our sister station, but we're all very excited. Of course, here at home, we are very much hoping for a win. So all of this and more, we're going to be covering today, all on our broadcasts throughout the evening, throughout the afternoon, and also here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Folks, we're going to take a quick short break and get to the other news of the day that involves actually kind of an interaction at one of the games at AmFam where this woman told another Dodgers fan who is an Hispanic gentleman that she's going to call ICE on him. So we'll get to that. Our reporter Jason Calvi is covering that for us. He's going to unpack what we know so far with regard to that investigation. We'll get to that and more in just a few minutes right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Your time now is 12:37. Happy Thursday, folks. Taking a quick short break. We will be right back. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Donovan Long here. Your time is 12:40 on your Thursday afternoon. We've been following several stories this morning, including this. This is one of our big stories. There was a Brewers fan at Game 2 of the NLCS here at American Family Field, and she called a Latino Dodgers fan in the stands near her some pretty reprehensible comments. She made some reprehensible comments toward him, for instance, saying, "Let's call ICE." Our Jason Calvey's following this whole interaction and the fallout from it for us. Jason, what can you tell us about this? We know the woman has been identified as Shannon Kobylarczyk. She's lost her job. She's been fired for this because this video has gone viral. What else can you tell us about this whole interaction?
And that's why we're standing right here. This is the Manpower Group. She worked here. She was on staff here at Manpower Group, and she has now lost her job here. Manpower, in a statement to Fox 6, said that once they became aware of this media post, this social media post, this video that had gone viral online, they did an investigation, and they said she no longer works here. So I want to zoom in, actually, because it's interesting enough. Here at the Manpower Group, this is, you can see the beautiful river here, but zoom in to the flags, because they have all these flags of nations here, and they have interspersed between those national flags, you can see there they have the Brewers flags. Those are up here. So this was Game 2 at American Family Field, where this all took place just a few nights ago. And now this woman, as you mentioned, has lost her job here at Manpower Group. She was also on the board of Make-A-Wish Wisconsin. And she has resigned effective immediately from the board of Make-A-Wish Wisconsin as well. So losing now 2 positions. That job with Make-A-Wish was unpaid. I was looking at the tax records for Make-A-Wish Wisconsin. She was not paid, but she was on that board as a leader in a leadership position there.
You know, it's interesting, right? You've been to sporting events, I've been to sporting events. There is an element of trash talk, right? It's supposed to be in good fun, and it's supposed to be respectful at the end of the day. And this seemingly went too far, according to the Dodgers fan who was, as he would put it, who was disrespected. Do we know anything about him? Is there any compensation that he will receive after going through this, Jason? Do we know yet?
He's asking for he wants a refund because he was the one, out of the 2 here in this interaction, he was the one that security removed from the ballpark. Ricardo Fusado, definitely a Dodgers fan. He's upset that he was removed and he wants his money back. He's asking for a refund. We've asked the Brewers, we want to know what the policy is for removing people. When can security at AmFam remove somebody from the ballpark? We also want to know, he's asking for his refund. Is he going to get his refund or not? And so that's Ricardo Fusado. He says he's a Navy veteran. He shot video from his seat inside AmFam. He was cheering on his favorite team, the Dodgers, and at one point when the Dodgers took, I believe, a 4-1 lead, he starts recording and he's kind of almost, I guess you could say, badgering the hometown crew and saying, "Hey, how come it's so quiet around here?" When the Dodgers were up 4-1. And that's when this interaction took place. So that's what kind of precipitated this interaction with the woman who's been identified as a former employee here at Manpower Group, Shannon Kobylarczyk. And so there's interaction, and pretty much what she said to him was, after he had initiated it with the, "Hey, why is it so quiet in here?" she had pushed back and said, "Let's call ICE." And those were the comments that were heard really around the country. Now, this post has gone viral. It's been reported in national media as well. TMZ's picked up on it as well. And our posts, both on YouTube and online, have also been getting a lot of traction. People really interested in this. It plays out with that national discussion over ICE. And the fact that this gentleman, Ricardo, is a Latino. And so it was seen as, some people said, really derogatory, as you mentioned, to then call a Latino and say, "We're going to call ICE on him." He countered and said, "No, I'm an American citizen. You can call ICE. They're not going to do anything. I'm an American citizen," Ricardo said. And he also said he was a veteran of wars as well. So he said, ICE isn't going to be able to do anything because he's a citizen.
There is so much to unpack in this story. I mean, you hinted on it now. This is part of a national conversation about ICE, and then, of course, you have the Trump administration, as we know, sending federal troops to different cities, trying to, in his words, kind of curb the violence that exists in those cities that he's deployed the national troops to, or the federal troops to, and you have immigration authorities on the ground in some of these cities as well. So this is, of course, a part of a larger conversation. We are just being, spotlighted because of the latest instance here at the ballpark. Have you heard, by any chance, from the woman who's at the center of the video? Have we reached out to her? Is she wanting to comment about this, kind of share her side of things?
I'm trying, Donovan. I went to her house. I checked property records, was able to confirm that we had the correct address for her. Went to the home. They had a Ring doorbell, so we rang the doorbell. No answer, no response. We knocked on the door, again, no response. We just wanted to hear her side of the story. We only are relying upon this video, and we wanted to give her a chance to share her thoughts. I can tell you what, there was a dog at the house, so we know at least at some point in time, people are living in that house, whether or not they're gone now. When I knocked on the door, they definitely didn't answer.
Interesting. One of the things I wondered too is the gentleman who was wearing the Dodgers fan, presumably in Dodgers gear, I'm not sure. But the gentleman on the other end of the phone who was doing the recording, Ricardo, is he from Milwaukee, do we know? Or was he traveling from LA to Milwaukee to watch the game?
He was in town for a work project. I don't know exactly. I know he spoke with our Sam Kramer yesterday, last night. So I'm not exactly sure how long he's in town, but he said he was in town for work and said, hey, my favorite team's playing. I gotta go watch my favorite team, the Dodgers, take on and beat the Brewers. But of course, he wasn't able to finish that game because he was escorted out.
Understood. And Jason, I know you got a lot of legwork to do here. Don't want to disrupt your news gathering. Real quick, are police involved in this? Has a report been filed? Has anything of that magnitude?
Yeah, for this instance, we don't know right now that the police have been involved. That's something I will check in on and give you updates for tonight at 4, 5, and 6 on Fox 6 and on Fox Local as well. If you're able to join us then at that point in time, I should have some more answers on that. But again, it was an exchange of words, right? And there were the words were, if we could just play out the interaction, hey, why is it so quiet in here? And then the woman saying, in response, let's call ICE. And then he responding to her saying, well, you could call ICE, but they're not going to do anything. He says, I'm an American citizen. I'm a veteran of wars. So that was the entire interaction. And then there was some swear word. He swore at her. That was what led, he said, to him being escorted out, because then she must have told security and because of the swearing, and that's why he believes he was escorted out for swearing inside that ballpark. Now, what is the exact policy? We're trying to get the details from the Brewers. We're trying to get the details about when and where security will remove you, because let's be honest, if you're going to be removed for a swear word, then potentially half of the ballpark might. Would it be fair to say, Donovan?
Sure,
yes?
absolutely.
Half of the ball.
They would be gone.
Hey, I like bringing my kids there as well. Right. So. Mike's our photojournalist. You've been in a number of Brewer games. A lot of people swearing? Yeah, okay. I don't have a percentage of people, but so if that's all it takes to be removed, then, so we were trying to get more information from the Brewers. Well, let's be honest, Donovan, we're trying to get the answers. That's what we're working on right now for our stories that are going to run this afternoon.
Well, brother, I look forward to seeing those answers you're able to gather, and I look forward to seeing your story. I know you're going to do a great job with this piece, so we'll let you go, let you get back to the news gathering. As always, Jason, very grateful for your time, brother. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Donovan.
Anytime. We'll see you. All right, folks, that was our Jason Calvi reporting for us right there. In the city, a lot to unpack with that video. We have extensive information on it as far as we know on our website, fox6now.com, in terms of what we know so far about the woman at the center of the video, the gentleman who says he was disrespected and was recording the video. You'll find that right now on fox6now.com. We'll get to that story and a couple of others here on our broadcast, our digital broadcast here at the Wisconsin Live Desk. But we're going to take a quick short break and be back with more events that are happening and how they will impact you right here on the Live Desk. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
All right, I almost said good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Donovan Long here. Your time is 12:52. One of the other stories we're following at this hour is what's happening on Capitol Hill right here. Whoops, this is our producer, Delaney. Hit the wrong button, Delaney. My apologies. Let's get you right back to where I'm trying to take you, right here to the Senate floor. We're talking about the government shutdown. We have been for the last 16 days. Yes, we are in week 3 of the government shutdown. It's been that long since this has started to affect federal workers who are in limbo, as both Democrats and Republicans cannot seem to get on the same page and reach a deal, thus opening the government, or reopening the government, I should say. You know, Democrats rejected for the 10th time yesterday a stopgap spending bill that would have reopened the government, but they insist that they will not back away from the demands that they're fighting for. We know this vote failed yesterday morning on a 51-45 vote. That is well short of the 60 votes needed to advance with the Senate's filibuster rules. We do know that this is honestly really impacting so many people, like TSA agents, air traffic control workers, and so many others who honestly help us in our daily lives. And we might not realize it until they've been impacted and can't feed their families, like with what's happening now. They're getting no pay. And so the healthcare benefits, Affordable Care Act subsidies, are at the center of this issue that Democrats and Republicans cannot agree on. Let's see if we have any movement from the Senate floor. I want to bring up the audio just for a second to see if we can hear how our lawmakers are debating this and going back and forth with hopes of reaching a deal. Let's listen in for just a bit if we can. Let's see here, folks. So we don't have any audio from this, which, you know, maybe because the microphones are muted there. I don't believe this is an issue on our end. But we do know we are waiting on the Senate to come up with some sort of a compromise and reach a deal. But we know Democrats and Republicans are still deadlocked.
Mr. Coons. Mr. Coons.
Have a little bit of movement. I'll go ahead and lower that for a second. We know it's day 16 of the government shutdown. Democrats, Republicans alike still deadlocked, excuse me, as the Senate has failed to muster up enough votes needed to reopen the government. So it looks like there's a little bit of movement on the Senate floor. We can listen in just a little bit here. Potentially. It's interesting. I stop talking, they stop talking. I think we're having a little bit of back and forth here. I'm not sure what's going on with the audio. In any event, we do know the shutdown began on October 1st after Congress failed to reach an agreement over health care subsidies, specifically the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Honestly, the longest government shutdown in U.S. history lasted 35 days. That was in 2019. We are on day 16 right now as it stands, so it doesn't seem like we are too far off from that benchmark there when the longest government shutdown in our history was 35 days. It looks like we are trending in that direction. Hopefully that does not happen because it affects so many people who need money to feed their families. Again, federal workers are in limbo until the lawmakers on both sides of the aisle can reach a deal. We do know that, as he always does, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries will be speaking momentarily here outside the Capitol. You see some members of the media and some other folks who are with different publications sort of corralling now in preparation of that speech. We do know it'll happen in just moments here. Meanwhile, again, we take you to the Senate floor where there's a little bit of movement here. Doesn't appear to be too much debating, more so what appears to be a little bit of small talking off into the distance, independent of the issue that you would likely think they'd be debating at this hour, but they're not at this moment. But we'll continue following this as the day progresses. We're going to take a quick short break, folks, and be back with more news locally, regionally, and nationally. And we'll explain how that impacts you. We'll be right back.
No. Mr. Sanders. Mr. Sanders, no. Mr. Hickenlooper. Mr. Hickenlooper, no. Ms. Alsobrooks. Ms. Alsobrooks.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Donovan Long here at 1 o'clock. One of the other big stories we're following locally for you involves the Milwaukee Public Schools District. We know district leaders have announced a new campaign that encourages retired educators to get back to the classroom, to get back to the district and start teaching. Our Christina Venzels is following this story for us this afternoon. Christina, this is, would someone argue, quite an ask of folks who've decided to retire and spend their days doing other things.
Yeah, that was actually one of the questions that came up during the press conference here at Garfield Middle School was how do you compete with retirement? What is that incentive to get retired teachers back into the classroom? And one of those things that MPS is offering is a $1,000 bonus and also the chance for teachers who are retired to maybe pair up with another retired teacher and split that time between the two so that you can do it as a buddy system. But there were a couple retirees here that talked who say that this is their time to give back and they missed teaching. They like being in the classroom and serving the community in that way. So it depends who you talk to. Maybe there are some people who are retired who say, maybe I wasn't ready. I want to get back in the classroom and do it part-time. But Donovan, part of this whole incentive is to get those vacancies filled throughout the MPS school district. Right now, we know there are about 83 vacancies across the board. And to put that in perspective, the superintendent said there are 98% of their positions filled, but 82 of them, that's what they're looking to fill with these retirees potentially coming back for this school year. So, yeah, as you mentioned, it seems like a big ask, but there are people who are here today who say they enjoy it. They like being in the classroom. Interesting. Okay. Are they looking at a specific grade level, do we know? Or is it just kind of like all of them are kind of represented in the 83 vacancies that need to be filled? So it is, the retirees can apply to any position, but there are certain areas with a greater need, and that is music, art, and middle school were some of the areas mentioned today where they're looking for those vacancies to be filled. And Donovan, I don't know if you remember back in May, in the spring, there was that big restructuring at the central office where MPS announced that they were accessing 180 positions and moving teachers back permanently into the classroom to help with some of these vacancies. I asked the question today, did that help? And the superintendent said yes. There are still vacancies, though, that need to be filled. So they've temporarily moved more people from central office to temporarily help out with those vacancies until they can hopefully get some of these retired teachers back in the classroom.
No kidding. Have you been able to talk to any of the retired teachers in terms of their willingness to go back? And do they think teaching today's kids is a lot different, thus kind of prohibiting them from going back into the classroom?
We didn't hear anything like that. There were 3 retired teachers who were here today, and a lot of them do it part-time or they're a substitute teacher, which also helps with that retired. You still get your retirement, but if you want to come back and sub for a day, they enjoy that part of it. So it seems like for a lot of teachers, it's a calling to them. This is what they live to do. A lot of the retirees have done this for 30 plus years and just enjoy the environment. So we haven't heard anything in terms of teaching kids nowadays compared to when maybe they started in the business. But yeah, it's definitely depends, I think, maybe on who you talk to and what their background is. But also one thing I want to mention is the superintendent said they are specifically looking for licensed teachers to make sure they get the top of the top people back into the classroom. That is something they're hoping to require when it comes to filling those spots.
We know a big thing has been test score issues with this district. Do district leaders think that by virtue of bringing back some of the OG educators, if you will, this will help improve those stats and those standardized testing scores, perhaps, possibly, if anything?
You would hope. That wasn't something they mentioned. I think right now the biggest focus is just getting those people back into the classroom. But of course, you'd think of that ripple effect, right? If they have that experience and then come back into the classroom, maybe that would help down the line with some of the other challenges the district has faced, like those testing scores. That didn't specifically come up in this press conference today. But of course, we can always ask and follow up on this as they are adding more job fairs for these retirees to come check out. I think they've added 2 more. They usually do 2. Now they're doing 4. So trying to get people in there as quick as they can. And the superintendent said, we asked, when's the deadline for this? She said yesterday. So they're really pushing to get people in the classroom now.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, real quickly too. So you mentioned the buddy system kind of ordeal here. So how does that work? The day is just split? One person works this number of hours, the other person works the other set of hours, or how exactly does that play out? Do you know by any chance?
That's what it sounds like, and I think it also is case by case, position by position, maybe what grades those teachers are coming in for. So it sounds like it's maybe varies with whoever is doing that position, or if it's a substitute, maybe one sub comes in one day when needed, the other goes in another day. But just that buddy system, I think, is a little incentive for people who are enjoying their retirement to not get that full expectation and to kind of split it with someone else who's retired.
That's fair. It kind of takes the edge off a little bit, takes the pressure off of trying to get back into something. I totally get that. Christina, alrighty, what are you working on for us in terms of who are you wanting to talk to? How's the news gathering going? What's next for you in the process?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. We just streamed the press conference here, so if you missed that, we will have that on the Fox Local app. You can check it out. We heard from the superintendent, one of the school board directors, and then several of those retired teachers who are back in the classroom. And you can hear also from the teachers union who spoke just about the joint effort here. So all of those people we just heard from, you can check that out. We also will be putting all of this together for our 5 o'clock newscast and our 6 o'clock newscast, so you can also watch that on Fox Local. So our news gathering, for the most part, is done. There's some numbers I'm still waiting for from MPS. I asked how many retirees make up the current staff, so they didn't have those numbers here. Waiting to hear back on that.
Wonderful. Christina, always a pleasure to have you. You are very talented. I thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Take care. We'll see you soon. All righty. All right, folks, that was our Christina Vincelos. As she mentioned, you can find her reports later on today on our broadcast starting at 4 o'clock, and then you'll find her information as well and her story at fox6now.com and on our Fox Local mobile app. All right, folks, we are going to take Hakeem Jeffries, who is the House Minority Leader. Want to get to him. He's on the steps of the Capitol. I see here off to my left. He is talking about being in the third week of the government shutdown. Let's get to him now and let's listen in to what is happening now.
Healthcare crisis that is devastating the American people. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Leader. You've maintained that the path forward out of this shutdown is you, Leader Schumer, Leader Thune, and Speaker Johnson sitting down with the president to negotiate a deal. With all of these informal talks that are going on, you kind of mentioned them yesterday, going on in the Senate, is that still your posture that the way out of this is leader-level talks that occur with the president to come to a deal?
The responsible thing for Donald Trump and House Republican, along with Senate Republican leaders, to do is for them to sit down so we can work this out in a bipartisan way. That's the responsible thing to do. Whenever we found ourselves, unfortunately, in a government shutdown in the past, that's always been the way out. But this group of Republicans who simply want to rubber stamp Donald Trump and haven't been given permission to sit down and have a conversation have adopted this position of my way or the highway. And Democrats have been clear. We're not going to support a partisan Republican spending bill that guts the health care of the American people. This is a major issue for millions of Americans all across the country, and it requires urgent action now. In terms of the informal conversations that are taking place in the Senate, as House Democrats, we've been clear. We will evaluate in good faith any bipartisan proposal that emerges from the Senate, as long as it is designed to accomplish three objectives: reopen the government, enact a spending bill that improves the quality of life of the American people, and addresses the Republican health care crisis. Thanks.
In terms of the timeline, obviously the shutdown doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon. You would like some changes made regarding subsidies. There's been talk of reform. This kind of law would require perhaps a lot of negotiation. How do you foresee this getting done in a short amount of time? What does the timeline look like?
Republicans have had multiple opportunities to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits throughout the year. And every single time there's been a vote in either the House or the Senate, Republicans have uniformly voted against providing affordable health care to everyday Americans. And they've uniformly opposed extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Time has run out. Open enrollment starts on November 1st. Tens of millions of Americans right now are starting to receive notices that their premiums and copays and deductibles are going to go up. In some cases, by hundreds of dollars per month. In other cases, by more than $1,000 a month. Meaning that there are Americans across the country, including in Mike Johnson's home state of Louisiana, that are going to experience increases that could total $20,000 a year. And these are Americans who together in their household make less than $100,000. In fact, more than 90% of the people who receive Affordable Care Act tax credits make around $63,000 a year. This is a cost of living issue that has to be decisively addressed now. Time has run out. And when the Republicans continue to insist that they're willing to sit down and have this discussion, Republicans are the same group of people who have tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act more than 70 times since 2010. The American people know they're not serious about addressing the healthcare crisis that they've created on their own, which is why it needs to be done now and needs to be done in a bipartisan manner with Democrats at the table.
Other things that are going to start happening November 1 are SNAP assistance.
Hold on. I'll go back to you in a minute.
All right.
Mr. Leader, when is the last time you've had a conversation one-on-one with Speaker Johnson, and has there been anything fruitful that has come of that?
We haven't had a formal conversation at all during the shutdown. And in my view, that's because House Republican leadership hasn't been given permission to talk to Democrats by their boss, Donald Trump. We know that throughout the entire presidency, Republicans in the Congress have chosen to function like lapdogs for the Trump administration, a wholly owned subsidiary of Donald Trump and his administration. Nothing but rubber stamps for Donald Trump's extreme agenda. And so the only conclusion that I can draw as to why we haven't even had a bipartisan discussion about reopening the government is because Donald Trump has ordered Republicans to go radio silent. That is irresponsible. That's not what the American people want. And as Democrats, as Leader Schumer continues to say, as we in the House continue to say, we'll sit down with anyone, anytime, any place, either here at the Capitol or back at the White House, to reopen the government, find a bipartisan path forward, make sure that we support our hardworking federal civil servants, and address the Republican healthcare crisis that's devastating people throughout the country, including in rural America.
Okay, so November 1's also a date where many of these same people that are concerned about health care are going to start seeing their emergency food assistance not arriving. It's also going to be a date where they're not going to see perhaps home heating support. How do you balance those needs with the needs you're fighting for right now in healthcare?
These are all issues, whether that's emergency food assistance, home heating, certainly access to high quality, affordable health care that Democrats have fought for, are fighting for, and will continue to fight for on behalf of the American people. And the American people know it. In this Congress, Republicans passed their one big ugly bill that hurt everyday Americans in order to reward their billionaire donors. In this Congress, that one big ugly bill included the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, and at the same time ripped away food from hungry children, women, seniors, and veterans by also visiting upon the American people the largest cut to nutritional assistance in American history. So all of these crisis events stem from Republican policies that are colliding at the same time, which is why Republicans are hiding, refuse to come back to Capitol Hill, and not a single one, as far as I can tell, has had a meaningful town hall meeting during the 3 weeks that they've been away from Washington, because they know they have a lot to answer for and they cannot justify their position.
So come November, you're going to have to make a choice?
The choice that needs to be made right now is that Republicans need to come to the negotiating table so we can work out a bipartisan agreement to reopen the government.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Two questions. First, it's been reported that you're going to be participating in the protest this weekend, the No Kings rally. So
reported by who?
Multiple reports. Unfortunately, I do not have them in front of me right now, but I'm seeking confirmation from you on that. And also, response to House Republicans. They've had a lot of rhetoric surrounding this protest, and you just said that you can't think of a meaningful town hall that a single member has had. They're really talking about all the work that they are doing in their districts with their constituents. So what's your reaction to them saying that they are working hard, saying they're not, they're saying this is theatrics and you're going to the quote Hate America rally?
Well, I haven't confirmed my schedule for this weekend because it remains my hope that Republicans will actually come to their senses and decide that they need to get back into town and reopen the government with some degree of urgency on behalf of the American people. The notion that the No Kings rallies is anything other than a patriotic act consistent with the First Amendment right to express yourselves and petition the government for a change in policy continues to reveal that Republicans are clueless as it relates to the Constitution of the United States of America, or they continue to lie. for political reasons. Right? There's nothing more patriotic in America than expressing yourself, particularly when it comes to expressing yourself in a peaceful manner related to disagreements that you have with government. Because this is an American experiment in democracy that's anchored in representative government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Over the last 5-6 weeks, we've heard all manner of toxic and malignant rhetoric from Republicans as opposed to actually addressing the problems that they've created, like the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, like the fact that Republicans are going to trigger a $536 billion cut to Medicare because of their one big ugly bill if Congress doesn't act by the end of this year, like the fact that Republican policies are leading to hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers closing all across the country. And now they refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, putting in jeopardy the quality of life of tens of millions of Americans who are going to face dramatically increased health care premiums and be unable to see a doctor when they need one. Instead of addressing the Republican health care crisis, devastating their own constituents and people across America, they continue to lie and spin and deceive.
Mr. Jefferson.
Thanks.
Speaking of toxic rhetoric, there's this controversy in Virginia where Jay Jones, the Democrat running for Attorney General, was found to have sent some explosive, some violent texts musing about the death of a Republican lawmaker. You have broadly and repeatedly condemned political violence of all stripes, but given the revelations about those texts, do you think that he should remain in the race?
The Attorney General candidate has appropriately apologized for his remarks, and I know his remarks have been condemned across the board by Democrats in the Commonwealth and Virginia and beyond, and that's the right thing to do.
Mr. Jefferson,
Yeah.
do you think what's happening in healthcare with people losing their insurance is a bigger crisis than the Trump administration, for example, illegally impounding funds or otherwise not following laws that were passed by her?
The Democratic alternative in terms of keeping the government funded, as well as addressing the Republican healthcare crisis, also has guardrails in it to make sure that if we reach a bipartisan agreement, House Democrats, Senate Democrats, House Republicans, Senate Republicans, on a spending bill that's signed into law by the president, that the policies contained in that spending bill are actually implemented by the administration. And that, of course, will remain an important topic of conversation and discussion. But we have made clear this healthcare crisis is devastating people across the country. Last week we heard from a 29-year-old woman from rural West Virginia, Mariah Plant, who takes care of her brother full time. Her brother is autistic, legally blind, entirely nonverbal. And Mariah is able to take care of her brother because of Medicaid at home in a loving environment. That Medicaid is now at risk for her and her neighbors in rural West Virginia, a state that Donald Trump won by 42 points. Mariah is also a small business entrepreneur of modest means. She gets her health care through Affordable Care Act tax credits. If those tax credits expire, Mariah Plant is going to lose health care or have to pay thousands of dollars more that she cannot afford. And Mariah's hospital in Wyoming County, West Virginia, rural West Virginia, is also at risk of closing because of Republican policies and the healthcare crisis that they've created. It's an urgent crisis. We're fighting for people like Mariah Plant, others in West Virginia, people in Wyoming, people in Alaska, in Tennessee and Mississippi. By the way, the 5 states that rely upon the Affordable Care Act tax credits the most. We're fighting for people in urban America, rural America, suburban America, small town America, the heartland of America, working class America, and black and brown communities throughout America, all of whom are being devastated. by the Republican healthcare crisis, and all of whom need relief immediately. Thank you all. Thank you.
We were just now listening to House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries there speaking on the steps of the Capitol, talking about, lawmakers being at a stalemate with the Republican lawmakers, and they cannot get on the same terms with regard to reaching a deal on Affordable Care Act subsidies, and so there is no end in sight right now. You just heard House Minority Leader Jeffries talking about he's not talked with House Speaker Johnson formally during this time that the government has been shut down. So a lot of information from both sides of the aisle. We do want to take you right back to the Senate floor where lawmakers are still debating, trying to reach a deal. Let's listen in for just a moment here.
All living hostages who had been held captive for more than 2 years. While we recognize there are significant challenges that remain in the Middle East, this marks a critical step toward a just and lasting peace in the region. This agreement would not have been possible without the strength of the United States military, our steadfast alliance with Israel, and making it unequivocally clear to Hamas that the United States is willing and able to assist our ally in war. Through strength, the U.S. brokered a peace deal that serves the security of Israel and the humanitarian needs of Gazans alike. Now, as the conflict in Ukraine has surpassed its 3-year mark, Putin remains undeterred in his mission to carry out his unjust war on the Ukrainian people. Each day this war continues, lives are lost, and the safety, economic stability, and global leadership of the United States are threatened. This war must end. To bring an end to this war, the United States and our allies must maintain pressure on Moscow. As was just seen, we remained pressure on Hamas. One recent and important development in this effort is the potential transfer of U.S. Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. This weaponry will strengthen Ukraine's ability to defend its territory, deter further Russian aggression, and help level the battlefield as negotiations hopefully move forward. By providing advanced precision strike systems, America demonstrates that our commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty is backed not only by words, but by legitimate support that can alter the course of the war. I commend the administration for its efforts to facilitate this transfer and for leading discussions between Ukraine and Russia that hopefully will secure a durable and just peace. The United States cannot act alone. Our NATO allies must also shoulder the burden. President Trump recently secured an agreement with our NATO allies to increase defense spending from 2% to 5% by 2035. This commitment is critical to maintaining the continued defense of Europe. Russia's economy is already under strain, but their capacity to fund conflict will continue without enforcement of steady and severe global
sanctions. And good afternoon,
sanctions.
everyone. Donovan Long here, joining you from the Wisconsin Live Desk. Time is 1:26. You've been listening to lawmakers, specifically senators, on the Senate floor. Right now, this gentleman going over the first phase of President Trump's peace deal and how it relates to the hostages that Hamas has freed this week and how this will further impact the peace that has been trying to be reached in the Middle East. In the meantime, my colleague, Haley Spittler, will take over here. She'll leave you in good hands as she continues on with what we can unpack today at the Wisconsin Live Desk. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're new here, thank you so much. So good to have you. She'll be right back in just a few minutes.
It's true, the United States is a stable and friendly supporter of our allies and a full-fledged adversary to those who wish to cause us harm. Our adversaries, Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran, are always looking for the opportunity to disrupt our alliances, weaken our resolve, and disturb the free world. It is imperative that the United States stands firm in its support for Ukraine, and in doing so places significant pressure on Putin to show our adversaries that democracy will not go undefended. Mr. President, I yield the floor. Mr. President,
Chair recognizes the senator from Kansas.
I note the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alston-Brooks.
Kansas.
Mr. President, thank you for the recognition. I would ask unanimous consent to lift the quorum call.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate resume legislative session and be in a period of morning business, with senators permitted to speak therein for up to 10 minutes each.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate now proceed to en bloc consideration of the following resolutions, which are at the desk: S-Res 455 and S-Res 456.
Without objection, the Senate will proceed to the resolutions en bloc.
Mr. President, I now ask unanimous consent that the resolutions be agreed to, the preambles be agreed to, and that the motions to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table, all in bloc.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that when the Senate completes its business today, it stand adjourned until 3 p.m. on Monday, October 20th, that the following prayer and that following the prayer and pledge, the journal of proceedings be approved to date, the morning hour be deemed expired, the time for 2 leaders reserved for their use later in the day, and the Senate be in a period of morning business with senators permitted to speak therein for up to 10 minutes. Finally, that the cloture motion filed during today's session of the Senate ripen at 5:30 p.m.
Without objection.
If there's no further business to come before the Senate, I ask it stand adjourned under the previous order.
Senate stands adjourned till 3 p.m. on Monday.
All right, if you are just joining us, I am taking over for Donovan Long. We were just listening in the Senate floor, which appears to have just adjourned until Monday. Obviously, no progress as far as government funding, so we remain in that government shutdown, now in day 16. Well, hey, I'll be with you for the next hour here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We have a lot of headlines to get to. We have some new developments with that Brewers-Dodgers situation where a Dodgers fan who is Latino was ejected from the ballpark after a Brewers fan told them that they were going to call ICE on them. We just heard actually from the Brewers, so we're going to get to that shortly. We also have some news coming out of the White House as far as the war in Ukraine. President Trump speaking with Vladimir Putin today on the phone. We also have some updates coming out of Chicago, where there has been a big push with Midway Blitz, which is another ICE kind of takeover in Chicago with a lot of arrests there, a lot of unrest with protests and police officers and things like that. So we've got a lot of news to get to here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We are going to take a quick 2-minute break as we get everything ready for you, and then we'll be back, so stick with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. I'm Haley Spittler and I'll be with you for the next hour, which we bring you news that you can use both here in Wisconsin, across the country, and sometimes even across the world. I do want to start by taking a quick live look in the City of Angels in LA. This is a look at downtown LA. Because of course, the Brewers are taking on the Dodgers in Game 3 of the NLCS, so Game 3 and Game 4 are for sure in LA. If the Brewers win, which would force a Game 5, that would also be in LA. If the Brewers keep winning and they force a Game 6 and 7, those would be back here in Milwaukee. The Brewers do have the best record in baseball, so they have home field advantage for each round of the postseason, which we hope is going to continue into the World Series. That would be great. But we do got to get a few wins from the Brew Crew in order to make that happen. If you're not in LA right now, probably a little too late to go and see the game in person, but have no fear. We've got all the information you need for the Game 3 viewing party, which is happening tonight. First pitch is at 5:08, which I'm sure if you're like me, you appreciate that earlier first pitch time. Sometimes these baseball games, they don't start until like 7, 7:30, 8, and then they last typically about 3 hours. I gotta go to bed. So 5:08, that's perfect. So this viewing party is gonna be at Davidson Park near 37th and Juneau. They have a giant 200-inch TV screen. Don't worry about grabbing dinner. They'll have it for you there. Plenty of local food trucks. Also, games, crafts, and a DJ. I love that there's going to be a DJ. And there's lots of special guests. Bernie, the brewer, Barrelman, and the racing sausages will be on site, which I know will make for really good photos. And speaking of photos, we still want to see yours. Please send us your pictures. You can just scan that QR code there on your screen. Submit them our way. We love getting to show them off, both here at the Wisconsin Live Desk, but also in all of our newscasts here on Fox 6. You can tell it's a Thursday afternoon, you guys. My brain power was disappearing for a second there. But we love getting to show them off, and we change these photos out all the time. I like this one of an entire family. And oh, is that Sarah? I think that's our very own Sarah Smith and her family in that giant baseball glove, as well as lots of people at AmFam. Speaking of those racing sausages, we've seen so many photos of people hanging out with them, so please continue to show us your pictures. Again, just scan that QR code there on your screen, and we will get those. Hey, we do though have a lot of news to get to that have happened this morning, early this afternoon. We're going to take a quick live look here in D.C. This is, of course, the Capitol, where it's still in a government shutdown. The Senate just adjourned for the weekend, so we're not going to see any resolution come from that until at least Monday. But we have actually heard from President Trump on a few things. First, we've heard from President Trump about the latest with Hamas and Israel. Of course, there was a peace deal that he was able to broker between the two, at least for a temporary ceasefire, which part of that was making sure that Israel got all of their hostages back from Hamas. The other part of that was a lot of Palestinian prisoners were going to be let go. We've seen a lot of, all of the hostages that were alive brought back to Israel. We have not yet seen the dead hostages all brought back. And that is a big point of this peace deal that we are continuing to monitor. Another big part was that Hamas was supposed to give back all of their weapons and kind of disband. That has not happened yet. And today, Trump has warned Hamas that, quote, "We will have no choice but to go in and kill them if the bloodshed persists in Gaza." So he is very much coming out strong against Hamas today, letting them know that they need to hold onto their end of this ceasefire deal, or there will be consequences. We also heard recently from President Trump about the latest in Ukraine. So he tomorrow is going to be meeting with the Ukrainian president again at the White House. But today he had a phone call with Vladimir Putin. So what we learned came out of that phone call, he said it was successful, and what they've decided to do is they're going to meet in Hungary next to continue that conversation in person. We don't know when that conversation will happen, but we did just learn, he put this on his social media, that the two of them will meet in Hungary as they continue to try and find peace and end the war in Ukraine. This phone call did come off of the request from Ukraine's president that the U.S. sell Ukraine some long-fire missiles that they wanted to use to attack Russia. And President Trump said if the phone call with Putin didn't go well, he was going to consider doing that. So there's still a lot to kind of figure out and to learn here on the latest of the Ukraine war. But again, we do know that President Trump spent some time this morning on the phone with Putin, and the two have decided to meet in Hungary. I also now got a lot of national news for you guys today. Want to give us a live look here in Chicago, which has really been a big conversation point for the White House and the Trump administration. They really wanted to come in and make Chicago the next on their kind of violent crime crackdown. We saw the Trump administration go into D.C. With the National Guard and crack down on that crime. We see them right now in Memphis. We know they wanted to go into Chicago, which was a move very much opposed by the mayor as well as the governor of Illinois, both of those men Democrats. We've also seen Chicago be kind of the center of Midway Blitz, which is a lot of ICE agents going into the city and making arrests of illegal immigrants. Since this has started, there has been a lot of protests and a lot of outroar at these arrests. And so today, actually, we just heard from a federal judge who made a rule requiring federal immigration agents that would be ICE, in the Chicago area to wear body cameras. So this comes after, again, a lot of pepper spray has been used in these protests. It says a fatal shooting last month happened. So again, right now, a federal judge has stepped in saying those ICE agents are going to have to wear body cameras. It's a move the Illinois Governor, J.B. Pritzker, has praised, saying that, you know, they quote, this is a quote, they clearly lie about what's going on. That's referring to ICE agents. It's hard for us to know right away what the truth is, saying now having these cameras will clear up any confusion there. So a lot going on across the kind of board there with news. Of course, a big story that we are covering is the NLCS. If you were here last hour with Donovan, he was able to chat with our very own Jason Calvi, who was following up on a story regarding a Brewers fan and a Los Angeles Dodgers fan who were at AmFam. And they kind of had this altercation going back and forth, which, to be fair, when you're at a baseball game, especially if you are sitting near somebody who's maybe rooting for the other team, very commonplace to, you know, have a little bit of trash talking. You love to really celebrate your team's win. You probably get a little quieter when the other team does something successful. That's part of the baseball environment. I think it's also fun to even go to your team's away games to kind of be in enemy territory. But this situation took a nasty turn on really both ends. We saw some heckling going on both sides, but ultimately that Brewers fan, after the Dodgers fan said it's getting really quiet here after the Dodgers, of course, ran away with the lead for Game 2. Well, that Brewers fan ended up saying they were going to call ICE, inferring that this Dodgers fan was an illegal immigrant. That Dodgers fan is Latino, but he says he's a U.S. veteran. He's a U.S. citizen. I'm not an illegal immigrant. So we did talk to Jason about this. He was really trying to get in touch today with that Brewers fan who has since been fired from her job. We weren't able to connect with her yet, but another big piece was really trying to hear from the Brewers. I'm actually going to show you guys quickly a picture here of AmFam. Of course, we wanted to hear from the Brewers because we learned the Dodgers fan was ejected in this whole situation. And just trying to figure out, you know, why they decided to eject him, what the ejection policy is. Of course, the Dodgers fan had said that he got ejected for swearing, which is something we all say, hey, I mean, there's no way that's the policy because you'd be going to an empty ballpark. There's a lot of swearing that does go on at any sporting event with passionate fans. So since we were able to talk to Jason, we've actually heard from the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm going to pull up their statement in part, which they just sent to us here at Fox 6. They say, quote, "The Brewers expect all persons attending games to be respectful of each other, and we do not condone in any way offensive statements fans make to each other about race, gender, or national origin. Our priority is to ensure that all in attendance have a safe and enjoyable experience at the ballpark." They go on to tell us, quote, "In this instance, the Milwaukee Police Department dealt with the individual who was ejected for actions apart from the events depicted in this video, including disorderly conduct and public intoxication. Separately, video shows that the other individual involved in the argument became physical in the course of her interactions with the person who was ejected. For these reasons, and in accordance with our guest code of conduct specific to ejections and physical confrontations, both fans are being notified that they are not allowed to return to the ballpark for future events." So again, we actually have learned quite a lot of new information from this statement from the Brewers that came in just a little bit ago, and that is that neither of those fans will be allowed back at AmFam. So whether you are the woman who was here from Milwaukee or you are that Dodgers fan, they will not be allowed back at any future games where the Brewers are playing at home. We also did learn the reason for the ejection of course, that Dodgers fan. Again, they're saying disorderly conduct and public intoxication. I'm going to pop up that live shot of AmFam again. I know we asked Jason, because the Milwaukee Police Department was involved here, are there any charges? So we've also since heard from the Milwaukee Police Department, they're adding to this that he was ejected only. There is no citation and there is no police reports. There are no criminal charges in this matter. Again, just ejected, you're not welcome back. And now they say after seeing that video of that female fan physically, and if you've seen the clip, we have it on Fox Local, she swats his phone because he's filming. So she does kind of strike him. They're saying she's not allowed back either. Of course, when you're covering, postseason baseball, you want it to be a fun situation. You don't want any really nasty name calling, anything physical, any bad behavior, which it seems has happened on both ends of this. So kind of a disappointing situation that unfolded here in Milwaukee, and something we hope we don't have to see or cover these next few games that we have in LA. But of course, we'll continue to follow all things postseason for you here on Fox 6, which I should go ahead and mention. If you're wondering, hey, is Wisconsin Live Desk going to get us all ready for the Brewers game again today? Like they've done so well. You know we are. Starting at 2:30, I believe it's Mary today. She's going to have you covered all things Brew Crew until 4. Of course, that's when our 4 o'clock newscast will start for you. But we have our very own Ted Perry and Brandon Cruz in Los Angeles. We're going to hear from Pat Murphy today. We're going to hear from Christian Yelich today. We'll bring you all of that right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. All right, we're going to take a quick break here, and then I'll be back with more news coming up for you in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk this Thursday afternoon. It is 1:51 and it is 61 degrees out, which I gotta say, beautiful outside in Milwaukee right now. All you really truly need is like a light jacket, and I'm so content. I think it might be a day I go for a run. Hey, we are monitoring a few different things on the feeds quickly for fun. Got to pop up my favorite camera, which is the bird camera, where you can see we get an up close and personal view of one bird getting their lunch this Thursday afternoon. I love popping up the bird cam. I still don't know where this bird camera is coming from, but it does look always so fascinating. I think I'm going to get into bird watching, you guys. Well, hey, we are monitoring some news coming out of the Oval Office. We are expecting Trump to make an announcement at about 2 o'clock. Now, sometimes those announcements start on time, sometimes they don't. There is a camera that is up in the Oval Office, so of course I'll keep my eye on that. And if and when that announcement starts, we'll bring it to you right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. I did actually want to take us out to London, where you can see this live look. You can see the London Eye there in the background. Of course, they are ahead of us, so it's quite dark outside. But the reason we're taking a look at London is because today actually marks 1 year since Liam Payne's death. This was a huge story last year. Liam Payne was one of the members of the boy group One Direction, which if you were around 2015, maybe like 2019, One Direction was just dominating the music industry. Everyone, well, every girl seemed to love One Direction. And this was just a huge news last year when he died suddenly. He actually fell off of his hotel balcony, plummeting 2 floors and ultimately dying in Argentina. He was from England, though. So yeah, a lot of people today are mourning and remembering Liam Payne. I know personally, a year ago today, I got the news and a lot of my friends were texting me because I was absolutely a big One Direction fan. And I just was so sad, not necessarily for the fans. I know it seems like we knew him, but we didn't. But I felt just horrible for his family and his loved ones. And he has a son who I think is about 7 or 8 now. So of course, you feel for those who got to know him. We've recently been hearing from his bandmate Louis about when he learned of the news, and he said, you know, you always just wish you could help him. It did sound like when Liam died, he had some drugs in his system, so it sounds like he was maybe struggling with that before he untimely passed. So yeah, just a lot of people remembering Liam. He was 31 when he passed last year, but of course, One Direction and the music will always live on and continue to have his memory. So yeah, a lot of people just wanting to highlight and remember Liam today. So I thought we would talk about that briefly on the Wisconsin Live Desk. I do want to go ahead and bring in our producer Delaney. I think she's ready, because if you guys were like, where has Delaney been this week? You just got back from vacation. You went to Colorado. Tell us all about it.
It was a lot of fun. So we went to Denver for 2 days.
Okay.
And then my sister lives out in the Leadville area. It's just like a small mountain town. So we went out there for 3 days. It was a lot of fun to spend time with family.
Absolutely. Okay, what was your favorite part of the whole trip, if you had to pick one thing?
On Saturday, we went to the Paul McCartney concert.
Oh!
So that was super fun.
Wait, that's really... Were you at Red Rocks, or where was Paul McCartney?
It was at Coors Stadium or Coors Field.
Much bigger venue.
Yeah,
that's where the
it was a
Rockies
big
play,
venue.
right?
Yes.
Very cool. Oh, I love that. Also, I asked for a souvenir. You did not bring one back. Explain to me what happened, Delaney.
I know. So when we were in Leadville on Monday and Tuesday, everything was closed because it's considered their mud season, which is like their off season.
Mm-hmm.
So not a big time for tourists right now there.
Because I had asked you to bring me back a little like bike, because I know Leadville from the Leadville 100, which I think it's Leadville 100. It's a 100-mile bike race. But Delaney didn't bring it back for me.
I know, all the souvenir shops were closed.
So I'm just gonna assume that you tried.
We did try.
Okay.
We made it into one shop, but even like a bunch of the restaurants were closed. It was kind of weird.
Okay.
But it's their off season, so.
Okay, so do you think you would go back? Was it a successful trip?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'd definitely go back.
I love to hear it. I'm also glad you're back, because I've had no one to talk to about the Jonas Brothers, because I got to go see them at Pfizer Forum Sunday, and it was such a good show, but I didn't think Carrie, who was filling in for you the last few days, really wanted to talk Joe Bros with me.
No, what was the best part?
Okay, a couple of things. One, I think it's always fun when you get to the venue and like you think you have good seats, but then like you actually see them. I guess it could go the other way too. Like maybe you think you have good seats and then they're bad. For me, I had front row of the level 100 section, and I thought they would be great. They were even better than I imagined. I got to be so close to them. I've been like third row of the pit before, so I will splurge for the Joe Bros. But two, one of my favorite Jonas Brothers songs is more of a deep cut. It's called Don't Throw It Away. And their last tour, they did 5 albums one night, was the whole shtick. So they would sing all of their songs, but it was a lot of mashups. So you'd get like maybe 20 seconds of this song and 45 of this. Well, Don't Throw It Away was only ever sung like 25 seconds. But this tour, they're completely changing up the set list. Delaney's bored. I've been talking too long about the Jonas Brothers. They are completely changing up the set list, and I haven't seen them perform it. Delaney, they opened with Don't Throw It Away, which I think is the most odd song to open with, but I was living.
No, that's so exciting, especially since it's one of your favorite songs.
Yes.
Yeah, they got to do the whole thing.
So that was really fun. And finally, I will say this, I went with two of my longest friends, my high school bestie, Brittany, and then my college freshman roommate, Caitlin. And I mean, Caitlin lives in Florida. Brittany used to be in Dallas. Now she's back in Chicago. But to get to be with both of them in one room with these boys that we love was just such a fun time.
No, it sounds like so much fun.
And the verdict is in. They both loved Milwaukee.
Oh, good.
Yes, because Milwaukee's got a lot going on.
It does. What did you take them to do?
Oh, well, how much time do we have, Delaney? Quickly, we took them around Wauwatosa. It was me. I took them around Wauwatosa. The highlight of Tosa was Wauwatiki, which our very own Ben Handelman told me I had to take them to. It's just so funny to me, this very well-themed, great drinks, tiki bar right off of, what is it, North Ave?
It's North Avenue.
So funny to me. And then Saturday, we went for a run because Caitlin and I have a half marathon in a week and a half, so we have to keep up our training schedule. But we ran to the Tosa Farmers Market, so that was fun.
The Tosa Farmers Market is a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had really good avocado toast there. And then I went on a boat cruise all the way around downtown Milwaukee Saturday night.
Wait, what a fun weekend.
I know. And then, of course, we capped it off with, we also went to Peck and Bushel, which has apple picking in Colgate, and that was really fun. And then, of course, we had the Jonas Brothers.
That sounds like a really fun weekend.
And if you're like, Haley, did you bring your friend Caitlin to the Wisconsin Live Desk Closet? I did. I brought her here to FOX6 and gave her a little studio tour. So then it was fun because I got to show her. We always joke, this room that I'm in is very small. And so now she understands. She got to see literally my tiny little room that I get to broadcast to all of you guys from.
How fun.
So fun. Thanks for letting me talk about my weekend, Delaney.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have anything fun planned for this weekend?
I have a wedding on Saturday.
Where's the wedding?
It's out in Fort Atkinson. I think it's an hour from here.
Okay.
It's a barn wedding.
Who's getting married?
One of my best friends.
I love that.
So it'll be a lot of fun, I think.
That will be a lot of fun. I'm going to go see Fiddler on the Roof at Skylight.
Ooh, I'm kind of jealous.
That'll be fun, too. My friend Brittany is coming back, so she must have loved Milwaukee that she said, all right, she's the one that came from Chicago. She's not Florida, so it's more attainable for her to come yet again. Delaney, I have a question for you while you're here.
Yeah.
Do you like candy corn?
It's not my favorite, but I'll eat it if it's in front of me.
Okay. I don't like candy corn. I always joke. People always ask, what's your, this is maybe inappropriate, what's your serial killer trait? Which is just those really weird things where you're like, that's not normal. I always joke that if you like candy corn, I think that's your serial killer trait. That's just so odd to me because it doesn't taste good. It tastes like you're eating plastic. So when people are like, that's my favorite candy, I want to be like, do you have taste buds? Have you gotten that checked out?
No, it's definitely not the best candy there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, honestly, if there was a bowl of candy corn, I'm still not going to eat it. I guess if somebody was if my brother Logan or one of my nieces brought me candy corn and really wanted me to eat it, I guess I would, but otherwise I'm going to skip it. But there's a reason that I ask you this. How do you eat your candy corn? Is it 1, all at once, 2, starting at the white end, or 3, starting at the yellow end?
I just eat it all at once. I feel like it's too small.
You're telling me you do one bite of candy corn?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'm judging that, but clearly that's the majority of people. It's 58%.
It's not that big.
I definitely think, I start at the white end, which is the smaller end, and then work my way to the yellow end.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I will say this, the candy corns are better than the candy pumpkins.
I agree with that.
Because the pumpkins are huge and extra plasticky.
I feel like they kind of taste like wax.
That is what I said yesterday to Carrie, because Carrie likes candy corn. And he was like, it's not wax, it's sugar. And I was like, no, it's straight up wax.
I feel like it tastes waxy, and then it kind of feels that way.
Yeah, you know what I think it is, Delaney? I imagine if you bit into a candle, it's candy corn. And
yeah, I agree with that.
No one in their right mind would ever bite into a candle. So why are we eating candy corn?
No, that makes sense.
Thank you. I really appreciate you going along with my shenanigans here as we talked about candy corn. We also thank you, Delaney, for telling us about Colorado. But please never leave us again. We missed you on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
I know, I missed being here.
I know, Nicola calls you my work wife. We usually say work bestie, but I was kind of lonely.
Yeah, I know, it was weird to not be working.
Yeah, but you're back. And you're not gonna, when's the next time you're leaving us? Not anytime soon, I
Not
hope.
anytime soon, no.
Okay, I'm gonna make it through then. All right, that's Delaney. I'll take you off the camera now. She doesn't necessarily love being on for long periods of time, and I just left her up for like 10 minutes. But that was great to get to check in and learn all about Colorado. We are gonna take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. There are a few things on the feeds that we could potentially go to when we get back, so we'll find the best one, and we'll bring it to you right here on Wisconsin Live Desk. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Haley, and I'll be with you for about the next 25 minutes because starting at 2:30, it is Mary, and she is bringing you all thing Brewers. As of course, Game 3 of the NLCS kicks off in Los Angeles in just about 3 hours. 5:08 is the first pitch. But we actually are going to quickly head out to LA. We have our crew there, and we are hearing right now from Dave Roberts, of course. This is the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So let's listen in. Maybe we can get a little scouting report for the Brewers. We'll hear what the Dodgers' plans are for tonight.
For us, it's important to continue to apply pressure and put the onus on them, on Murph, to continue to, keep running his high leverage guys out there. And so, getting another look at Aspie is important for us, and I just expect us to, keep taking at bats, and whoever they go to next, be ready for them.
You were kind of on the other side of that with the bullpen last year. Does having like pieced that together in the past, like make you better prepared to kind of anticipate what they do and get to their pen when they have to like use pitching creatively this year?
You know, I wouldn't say it prepares me more, because that's a managing decision on, you know, at what point do you go with, you know, lower leverage guys to not give the opponent similar looks. And so that's a decision each manager has to make. And again, it just goes to us continuing to make that decision difficult for them. So we got to pitch well. We've got to convert outs when given the opportunity, and then, you know, take good at bats. And I like our chances if we do that.
We're going to go Jason on the right.
Dave, obviously all your starters, except for Yamamoto, spent time in the injured list. That would include Sasaki. When that happened, when they were all out, did you look at that moment in time as trying to prepare them for this moment, for the postseason, and try to ramp them up for this? And did you use that time to maybe hit the reset button with anybody and make some tweaks?
Yes. I think it's kind of layered in the sense of our goal was to win the World Series. None of those injuries at that point in time, whether it's Blake Snell, whether it's Tyler, whether it was Clayton, anyone, where it was going to be longer term. So we felt that we have to make sure that the ramp-up process was sound, not rushed, to make sure that they could be ready for the postseason, right? So I think our training staff, coaches, did a fantastic job. And the other part was it gave opportunities to guys like Sheehan, Robleski, and others to then help their development. And so I think that with that, we've done a great job of kind of the now, getting the younger players, they're cutting their teeth as starters, getting innings, and then also having our other guys save bullets and getting ready to go throughout the postseason. So it's been, I don't think you could have lined up any better, Jay.
We'll take two more. Take Bill over here on the left.
Yeah, Dave, the Gold Glove finalists were announced yesterday, and Mookie Betts is a finalist at shortstop. We've talked about his position switch throughout the year, but how much of an achievement is that for a guy first full season at a position?
I think the only person on this planet that believed that Mookie Betts would be in this conversation was Mookie Betts. And, you know, it's just something that it's never been done. I can't even, it's incredible. I can't even, obviously I'm at a loss for words that he's in this position where last year, you know, the confidence wasn't there playing shortstop and, you know, kicking him out to right field to help our ball club, to kind of wondering if it was the right decision to put him at short, to then now being a Gold Glove finalist, being so trustworthy, and I feel he's very, very warranted in winning a Gold Glove. And so to kind of add to his hardware, it's pretty amazing. So hats off to Mookie. And also, you know, Miggy Rowe's a finalist. And I think Miggy Rowe undoubtedly should get this Gold Glove award. You know, his ability to catch the ball at any position, sure-handed, the spectacular play. So I think they both deserve it, yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to Jim in the middle.
Doc, at this stage of the season, are you more inclined to stay with a starting pitcher rather than go to the bullpen in like the 6th or 7th, or does it depend on situations and what's happening in the game?
I am. I think I've shown that. But it still depends on each individual game. How the pitcher's throwing, efficiency, how the hitters are taking at bats versus that particular pitcher. So yeah, I'm in read and react mode, but I think, Jim, I've shown that, yeah, if they earn it, then I'll run them out there deeper.
Thanks, Doc.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, we were just listening in right there. The latest coming out of Los Angeles. So that's the latest from the Dodgers. Coach Dave Roberts, their manager. Let me speak the right terms here on baseball. But he was talking starting lineup and pitchers, their strategy for today. their starting pitcher, Tyler Glasnow. The Brewers starting pitcher, if you're wondering, we found this out just a little bit ago, Aaron Ashby. So yeah, it'll be an exciting game. Again, that should kick off in under 3 hours. First pitch set for 5:08. We'll have you covered though here on the Wisconsin Live Desk from 2:30 on to 4, all things Brewers, and of course we'll continue that in our newscast tonight. Again, our very own Ted Perry, Brandon Cruz, they are in LA. They are bringing us all the exclusive news that we need to know about. I just want to quickly pull up here the schedule. You guys, I told you it's Thursday. My brain power is decreasing. Again, we actually do know the pitcher tonight is going to be Aaron Ashby, so a little update to this graphic for you. But game tonight, 5:08. Game tomorrow, 7:38. If you're wondering how postseason works, because I know sometimes these games are guaranteed and sometimes they're not, both of these games, no matter what, will happen. So the NLCS is a best-of-7 series, meaning you have to win 4 times. So no matter what, you'll have game 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right now, if the Dodgers were to continue their winning streak and they were to win the next 2, they would sweep the Brewers. We would not need game 5, 6, or 7. But if the Brewers win tonight, that will force game 5. If the Brewers win again, that could force game 6. At that point, if the Dodgers would win again. So anyway, that's how it kind of works. You got to win 4. Once you've won 4, the NLCS is done, and you advance to the World Series. So we'll continue to keep you covered, all thing postseason baseball. But for now, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to hear from our very own Brett Lemoyne. Stay with us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey, Hey, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk this Thursday afternoon. Time check for you, 2:16, which means we got about 15 minutes left before our very own Mary is taking over and getting you all things Brew Crew coverage until 4 o'clock here at the Wisconsin Live Desk. But for now, we're going to actually talk a little Waukesha County because we have a business that is celebrating 100 years. What an accomplishment. Our very own Brett Lemoyne joining us again here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Brett, tell us more about this anniversary.
Hey, Haley. Yeah, 100 years. It's a pretty big deal. Century Equipment here in Oconomowoc. For perspective, Haley, the city of Oconomowoc itself is 150 years old, right? So for most of the city's history, this business has been here. I want to bring in Michaela Giddo. She is the Vice President of Human Resources here at Century. What is the secret to the success here of this business?
Well, it's a lot of things. We have a great culture. We're an employee-owned company. We're going to be employee-owned for 40 years next year, and we just love being a part of this community.
So 40 years, 1986 is when you became employee-owned, and at the time that was kind of unique in and of itself. What does it mean to be employee-owned here?
It's so amazing. It means that everyone has a piece of the puzzle, and everyone is not just an employee, they're an owner. And so that really affects our culture and how everybody who works here approaches their work, because it's really, they're a part of it and they get a financial stake, and it's really cool to be a part of something bigger.
You've got about 145 employees here, right,
Yes,
in Oconomowoc,
yes.
but you also have employees throughout the country, too.
We do, yes. We have another facility in Houston, Texas, and another in Salt Lake City, Utah, and then we also have some remote sales and service folks, too.
A global business. Explain to our viewers what you do, because it's very specific about how you make equipment to take samples for power plants and whatnot.
Yes, so historically we manufacture sampling equipment, so it's an electrical mechanical product that takes a sample out of our customers' production lines. So we're in the food and beverage industry, the power industry, chemicals, so really a wide variety of things. And then in the last few years we've also branched into wastewater, so we have a lot of things in that space as well.
Yeah, I understand. Almost every power plant in the country, you say, has your equipment in it helping them operate,
Yes,
which is
yes,
incredible.
it's really important to have clean water and clean steam as part of their process.
So, Michaela, one of the things, we came a year ago and we were here for Manufacturing Day, where you had welcomed a number of high school students from the area to try and get them excited about jobs in manufacturing, specifically those Gen Zers, right? Why is that such an important thing for not only your business, but for manufacturers in general? And how successful have you been?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so crucial to get the next generation interested in manufacturing. I think we've been talking for a number of years about the manufacturing skills gap, and we just need more young people. As our baby boomers retire, we need young people to go into all of the different roles that there are in manufacturing. And overall, I think we've been very successful. We have a number of high school interns and students that work here, a lot of people that join us right out of high school and or do apprenticeships, things like that. So it's really great to see the next generation interested in manufacturing.
Is it a misconception about the industry that's holding people back, you think? That they have a dated idea of what manufacturing, what these jobs actually are?
Sure, I think that's part of it. I think, a couple generations ago, manufacturing was dirty. Maybe it didn't pay well, or it was really, physical labor. And now, I mean, if you see our shop, it's so clean and it's bright. It's a great place to work. There's a lot more flexibility with it, a lot more technology. So it's definitely a really exciting career to go into.
I know when I was here last year, you were offering 4-day work weeks, for example, were kind of an incentive for people. What can people expect if they did want to get a job here working for Century?
Yeah, so our manufacturing floor, people have flexible scheduling opportunities. So the department just picks what schedule works for them. So some of our employees work 4-10s, some of them work 9 hours, 4 days a week, and then 4 hours on Fridays. We have second shift, so really a lot of different flexible options so that people can make it work for both their career and their home life.
Cool. To wrap it up, Michaela, you've got a big celebration, a big party. There's a tent here in the parking lot. Kickoff is at 2:30. What can we expect?
Yeah, so we have a number of guests that are coming to speak, from our president, our past president, several different elected officials, and then we're debuting our new video that we had created for this day for celebrating our 100 years in business.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Thank you again for taking the time to speak to us and give us some history and some education here about what you do at Century. So thank you again,
Absolutely.
Michaela.
Thank
yeah.
you very much.
Yeah. Haley, big deal. Like we said, 100 years, and we've got a full report that we're working on for our newscast tonight. We're going to talk about not only getting those young people those jobs in manufacturing, but also some of the challenges that tariffs have presented to this business. And we'll have that for you later on today on Fox Local.
All right, we'll keep our eye out for that, Brett, because 100 years is a huge accomplishment, and it really sounds like Century Equipment, their influence is far beyond just here in Wisconsin. You said they were in so many plants across the country, so we'll definitely keep our eye out for that story. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, Brett.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, exciting anniversary there, 100 years. I'm sure when they started out, they only hoped and dreamed that they would make it to today. And we'll have to check in on that celebration at 2:30. Make sure and stay tuned for Brett's story. It's coming up later today on Fox Local. We'll have that for you. Hey, well, we are keeping our eye on a lot of different things here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We did just miss Christian Yelich. He was giving some answers to members of the media, and if you're sad that you missed it, don't be too sad for too long, because we will have more on that coming up here at 2:30. Our very own Mary Stoker-Smith will be taking over, doing all sorts of Brewers coverage for you. And Ted Perry, Brandon Cruz, they were listening to what Christian Yelich was saying, and they will bring you the latest when they join Mary for the next hour and a half. But of course, if you are going to the viewing party, because the game is in LA, but if you're going to that viewing party we told you about earlier, I want to just give you quickly your forecast so that you know how to dress for it. Again, this will be first pitch 5:08. The viewing party is at Davidson Park. So your forecast for it: 61 degrees for first pitch, and then probably about midway through the game, maybe a little bit more, just dropping a few degrees down to 59, which is where it should stay for the remainder of that game. So yeah, I would say pants and a jacket or a long sleeve and you'll be just fine. But we do have all sorts of information for you on that viewing party. Let me pull that up for you right here. Oh, I grabbed Christina's name. That was not very helpful. This is what we wanted. First pitch is at, again, 5:08. The viewing party's at Davidson Park. They're going to have a giant 200-inch TV screen. They'll have plenty of local food trucks, games, crafts, and a DJ. And this is what I think is so exciting. You can go and see Bernie Brewer, Barrelman, and the Racing Sausages on site. So if you wanted to maybe meet them, but you haven't been able to get your hands on some of these tickets at AmFam when the Brewers are home, you can go and get your photos with all of those icons, we should probably call them, tonight at Davidson Park. And of course, if you do take those photos, just another reminder, send them our way. We want to see them. We love getting to highlight Brewers fans, especially as they continue their October baseball. We're hoping that they can get the win tonight. Honestly, we're hoping they just win the next 4 straight, so that'd be ideal so they can go to the World Series. But along the way, make sure and snap some pics and then send them our way. You can just scan that code right there to submit them. And then we've been showing them off here at the Wisconsin Live Desk. We've been showing them off during some of our newscasts, and it's been so fun to see your photos. They're not always even at AmFam. I mean, sometimes it's when the Racing Sausages or at your school or at one of your events. Sometimes it's your dogs wearing their Brewers jerseys. So it's been really cool to get to see some of those photos. I do like this bottom one where you can just see whatever was happening at AmFam was definitely good. There's a lot of hands in the air kind of celebrating and cheersing. So I love that you guys have captured just so many great moments with all of the Brew crew there. Okay, so we are getting ready to go to Brewers coverage here in just a few minutes. But before that, I think we should probably go back to the bird camera. We haven't checked in a little bit, and I love the bird camera. I just love that, you know, no matter when we check in, whether it's at 12:30 or 2:30, they're always eating some of these bird seeds here in this backyard. I always promise that I'm going to try and find where this actual bird feeder is. I've yet to do that, but at some point I will, because whoever put a camera on their bird feeder, I am so grateful, because I just love getting to watch this. I think it's so fascinating. They're eating their lunch. So yeah, again, you know what else I need to do at some point? learn more about birds. I would love to be like, oh, what you're looking at here. But I can't do that, and neither can Delaney. But we've been told Gino could do it. Gino's apparently quite the bird expert. But I always just love checking in on that. Hey, a couple other things that we've been monitoring. Again, President Trump was expecting to make an announcement from the Oval Office. That was set for 2. It is starting late, no timing update, but I'm sure that we will have whatever that announcement is coming up in our newscast later today. So just keep your eyes locked and peeled here to Fox Local. We'll get you caught up to speed on what that announcement is. I'm sure he'll also touch on his phone call with Putin earlier today, which if you missed that update, he says that he and Putin will be meeting in Hungary in a future date. We don't know what it is yet, to continue discussing the Ukraine war and hopefully finding a resolution to end that Ukraine war. We should learn more tomorrow, as well as the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, will be back at the White House. So we'll keep you updated on all sorts of news here in Wisconsin, of course, across the country, across the world. Most importantly, we'll keep you updated on all things Brewers. Again, Game 3 of the NLCS is coming up tonight at 5:08, and we have our crew in LA. Mary Stoker-Smith coming up next. She's got you covered. Thanks for joining us today.